I'm so excited to share this. So, I don't know how many out there are involved in politics. I never was one. It annoyed me, it frustrated me, and it made no logical sense of any kind. So, I never really understood it in school. The thing I understood in school was that they were forcing me to decide what party I belonged to. And at that age, I was 14, I'll never forget this class, and the topic was abortion, and they were asking me, well, how do you feel about abortion? And I gave my answer. My answer was not good enough. And then, because my answer wasn't as appealing to the teacher, he automatically says, well, you belong to this party. And I said, no, I don't, because all of these things do not match up with how I feel and perceive what I'm perceiving. And then he asked a different question. He said, okay, well, with that answer, then you belong to this party. So which party do you belong to? And I could not answer him. And what I kept trying to get to was something I didn't myself understand how to formulate into words at the age of 14. I was learning about government that made no logical sense, which I now know why. And the bit about government I was learning seemed very biased, and I understood that. And so when I was in school, I was that kid that I brought in the other perspectives, and it was not well received because, well, what do we know about today's world? It was very intentionally designed to not know more. So I sat with that for all of my life, and how frustrated I was that I was being told I had to be a part of a party. There was just no other option, and I knew that was a lie. So my whole life, I decided, well, fine, then I'm not going to sign up, and I will not be a part of anyone's party because I disagree with both. Because at the time, actually, I learned about 3 of them. At the time, there was just the Republican, the Democrat, and the Independent Party. Not one of them could I fully stand behind and support all of what was there. But I couldn't articulate what I meant in the conversation I had because I had such a big perspective at such a young age, and a lack of experience on how to articulate this. Well, today, let's fast forward. Well, not quite till today. Well, I think it was around age 30. I had this similar conversation, and I remember telling my mom how I was frustrated about that. And so I told her, I said, so I didn't sign up. I'm registered to vote so that I could have the option if I ever wanted to do it, but I never signed to a party. And she said, we're in Oregon. So again, I'm only speaking from Oregon. I don't know if this pertains in every state, but it might be something you would want to look into. What I learned from my mom, she said, well, fun fact, if you don't pick a party, the state picks one for you. And we're a Democratic, are we Democrat? I don't know. We're a blue state. See, I don't even know that shit because I don't agree with it. We are already a party. I'm pretty sure we're a Democratic Party as a collective in Oregon. That's the most made up, or the most populated one. She says, if you don't assign yourself to one, they assign it for you. What is the consensus, right? I got fucking mad. Excuse you. Well, not her, but to the state of Oregon, this pushed me back to 8th grade when I'm trying to have this conversation with the teacher that I have a fucking choice. If I don't want to belong to a political party, that doesn't discount me from doing civic duties, that doesn't discount me for being less than, that doesn't mean anything. If anything, what you're trying to do is push me into a narrative that creates division, and I disagree. So, now we fast forward to today. I still didn't end up picking a party, even at the age of 30, and learning that. I just was mad because even the parties hadn't evolved much. And so there were still the same options. And I was just like, obviously they're going to pick for me whether I want it or not. Well, then I found out if I moved, that unregistered me. So after I moved and finding that out, I stopped registering myself to vote. Now, whether they still deem me as Democratic or not, I don't know. I don't really know the ins and outs of how all of that nonsense works. But what I did do, because of what's going on in the world today, 444 for anybody who's curious, I signed up for, I registered myself to vote, and I got excited. And here's why. Not only are there more than the 3 option. I think there's like 6 now. But there was an actual party that I fully understood. Well, maybe not fully, but at least I would say 80% understood the party. And I reread all of the parties to make sure. And there is now, I registered, if you look right there, and I know it's probably backwards in the camera, WTP. Do you know what that means? Do you know what party that is? It's called We the People. We the People is now a party. And if you don't agree with all the other parties that are out there, I highly recommend look into your state and learn, do they automatically pick you a party? Because that right there, that is a discrepancy in our political world. 2, out of the parties, are you actually signed up with the one that's most in alignment with you? Or are you reverting to what they told you had to do when you were in school? The reason for this post, I'm just sharing that they have a party I was unaware about, and I'm very excited. We the people, this is the people of the land, because the government works for us. Self-governance is a thing. They did not teach us that in school, where they should have. Because if we learned self-governance in school, we would then understand how to run our government, and then understand as a nation that the government works for us. We are its constituents, and we all voted, well, maybe not everybody, but enough of a population voted to put people in the Congress, in the Senate, in the houses, in all the places to represent its constituents. So, what I've been doing over the last 5 years is self-governance and learning all those things. I highly recommend that you do the same thing, because if you are just blindly following what somebody else told you without your own research, and I mean sourced research, if you're doing that, you're potentially, I'm not going to say you are, but you are potentially part of the problem. Now, if you're somebody like me who loves solutions and taking action, I highly recommend you take on this little task for the benefit of yourself as an overall being. Claim yourself. Who are you? Claim your rights back. What are they? Claim your position in the land. Where is it? You are responsible, you are accountable, and you are the power choice. You, right there. Love yourself into that and remember that, because it's going to take remembering that to shift whatever chaos is out in the world, which I'm hearing a lot of. That's what it's going to take. Everybody doing their research and aligning what feels right to them, not just being told what's right and what's wrong. Because I'm going to tell you right now, it's just a bunch of frickin' division going on out there. And to have an adult leader in charge acting like a 3rd grader is freaking wild. But this is a collective energy. This tells us we as a nation have not learned how to self-govern. So we are all acting like 3rd graders. I wouldn't say all of us, but the collective, that is a reflection. So let's take that and serious note about it, or not serious, however you want to take it. Take note. Self-govern. Choose your place and be that. Whatever that is for you. You get to decide, because it was always your choice to decide. I love you.